For my friend Marissa's birthday recently, she said that what she really wanted to do was watch the movie version of the musical Cats that came out 2 years ago. And for all of us to wear cat ears and basically play a drinking game. So we found these ridiculous rules online that were like, every time Rebel Wilson falls down, you have to take a drink. Or every time they say Jellicle, you have to drink a drink. And that one was really hard because they say Jellicle like every 2 seconds. And none of us know what the hell Jellicle means. But
I was just about to ask. I don't even know.
It's like the whole thing of cats is like they're Jellicle cats. What does that mean? It's never described. It's just you're a cat and you are Jellicle. And by the way, this movie is probably the most absurd. It was like a fever dream. It was ridiculous, man. Like, I'm pretty sure Idris Elba is nude at one point. Like, there might be an orgy. It's just, anyway, it was amazing because we got to play a cat's drinking game, right? Like, I loved every second of it. It made no sense, but we got to play a drinking game and we all had a wonderful time. So that was my experience with cats.
That's awesome. I love drinking games. I don't really know many drinking games, but I feel like drinking games are so versatile. I've seen like bingos, card games, and it's like one game where the winner can also end up being the loser at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's just good because you just never know what's going to happen.
That reminds me of last week. There was all over Twitter, there were trending Law and Order drinking games, and there were a bunch of different versions, and fans were making their own. But my favorite one that I saw was take a shot every time someone says semen, and that's it. And you're drunk. That's it. That's the whole game.
Do they talk about semen a lot in that show?
Yeah, more than you would guess.
Dang, I've been missing out. Nice butts and semen on that show.
That reminds me of this one time when I was in high school. I would write semen like I was trying to say semen, but I was actually writing men.
Were you trying to talk about seamen or like men who go out on sea?
Men who are in the sea.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a fine bunch of seamen there. I don't know why you have an accent like that, but.
So yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what if there was an episode where it was just like set in the ocean?
I think it's probably the other kind of seaman, Alex.
Correct.
But I don't know. I've never seen an episode of the show. I don't know. Maybe it's all set in the water. Maybe it's all salt water. Yeah, it's all salty anyway, right? Scoundrels.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. A drinking game I think of is during Christmas time when we are watching either like Home Alone or Elf, and you have to take a drink every time like something very unrealistic happens. So like when one of the bandits gets hit, and it's like, okay, you totally should have died from that, but they're still alive. Or an elf, when he screams Santa or elf or like embarrasses his dad, you take a drink. And then there's one, you finish your drink when Buddy finishes the liter of soda.
Yes.
And stuff. So I always like Christmas time drinking games because I'm obsessed with Christmas movies.
What's the best way to put together a drinking game? Like if you're like watching something, would it be better to not have ever seen the show or movie before and then just like make things up, or something that you've seen and are expecting?
Definitely seen.
Yeah, something that you've seen. Like, I'm still rewatching Top Model. That's been my binge lately. And I've heard good Top Model games where it's like every time Tyra says smize, every time Tyra talks about herself when I was a model. So it's like things that you expect to happen. Yes. Because at the end of the day, if you're playing a drinking game, you want to get a little drunk. Yeah.
That's the goal.
There's a drinking game for everything.
I hope somebody made a drinking game for our podcast. That would be hilarious. Like every time Sean has to bleep herself to not say a bad word.
I was just going to say that.
Take a sip of your drink.
Every time Nicole talks about Billie Eilish, every time Haley talks about Law and Order, and every time Alex talks about Kanye West.
There we go.
Nice.
Coming in hot from the Valley of the Sun.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
Hello again, all you pop culture junkies out there. This is your boy Alex, along with fellow junkies Shauna, Haley, and Nicole. All right, people, let them know you're here.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hi.
Hello.
Whoop, whoop. Yep, so this is another episode, another week of Pop Culture Junkie Podcast. Here giving you the news and the flicks and the shows to tune into and all the drama that we see on the TV screens. And speaking of drama, I'm going to just jump right in and talk about the ultimate slip inside diarrhea debacle. I'm sure you guys have already heard about this, but this is probably the funniest news I've heard all weekend long, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Yes, tell us about this crappy situation, Alex.
If you haven't heard about this, NBC has a game show that's in production that they had to stop because somebody, or at least there was a serious case of diarrhea that crew and cast, I think, at least about 40 people involved in the show got this Giardia bacteria. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Science is hard, but so just imagine at least 40 people all like having violent diarrhea, just like at a pretty much what looks like a water park. Yeah. See, and that's the thing now too, because now I feel like I am traumatized. And I haven't even experienced this. I wasn't even part of the crew, obviously, but now I feel like I can never go to a water park because all I'm going to be thinking about is Giardia and who has it. I don't think I could ever go to a water park now. That
All public pools and water parks have at least a little bit of poo in there, though. Like,
I already have like really bad experience with that. When I was 11, I got E. coli from a hot tub.
Oh,
that wasn't clean. Yeah, I like straight up almost died. So I am not playing around with ultimate slip and slide and getting any sort of GRD nothing. No, thank you.
Don't like that.
Imagine how easy it can happen, because I immediately thought about that slide that, like, you ever been to a water park and there's like this slide that pretty much goes almost at a 90-degree angle?
Yeah.
And by the time you're like standing up, you just have this like crazy wedgie.
Oh, the water goes up your booty hole. Oh my gosh.
It's a Giardia enema. Straight up.
I didn't even think about that. My ex-boyfriend really talked me into going into one of those ridiculous slides, and I'm terrified of those things. And he forgot to tell me to like clench my booty hole. And by the time I was done, I was like, why am I so full of water? Very uncomfortable, traumatizing experience.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. So are auditions open for that show? Or where do I sign up?
Know if it's, from what I understand, it's paused. I'm not sure if it's going to continue.
Yikes.
Maybe it's up in the air. But yeah, and I think it was set to air in August or sometime this fall. And I'm hoping that they still do, because I think, if anything, it'd probably be the best press for this show, and it hasn't even come out yet. Like, I didn't even know the show was happening. And now everybody knows.
Shout out to everybody's buttholes. I hope everybody's okay.
Yeah, that's one thing we all have.
That's deep, Alex.
Yeah.
The one thread that unites us all.
Yeah, gets deep, just like your shorts going down the last slide.
Even Beyonce has a butthole. You ever think about that? Just
wow.
No, I don't think about that.
Damn.
Now that's all I'm going to think about.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving along. Does anybody else?
Anyway.
Speaking of things that everybody has and just fluids coming out of people. Or maybe not. Actually, I don't even know if I feel comfortable comparing body fluids to gender fluid.
Speaking of fluids, it was confirmed that Loki is going to be gender fluid in the new Loki series. So first of all, let's talk about episode 1 of Loki, which aired last week. By the time this episode drops that y'all are listening to, episode 2 will be out. But I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I love Tom Hiddleston, and I have for a really long time. And so, I'm a little biased because honestly, the show could probably suck and I would still like it. But No, I liked it a lot. I'm definitely confused about a lot of things. I found it kind of funny how like the TVA, anytime someone messes with time, they're cool with it as long as it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of like an easy cop out because there's so much of that in the Avengers.
Right, even before, spoilers for Loki, obviously. If you haven't seen it yet, then maybe skip the next couple minutes. But the whole time he was like standing up there in court, I was thinking that too. I'm like, okay, well, the Avengers like after the timeline more than anybody, but then they sprinkled in that they were supposed to do that. And I was like, okay, well, there's a nice little
see, that's when I start to wonder, like, is it really what's supposed to happen or is it what they want to happen? Because if there's all these different timelines like occurring parallel to each other, like it seems like they have the power to choose which one to follow. Yeah,
so it's like all these timelines happened, they don't exist anymore, right? There was like a timeline war, and then the timekeepers kind of made it so it's all just like the sacred timeline. So now there's just one. But I think that by the end of the series, there will be a multiverse again. I mean, we already have confirmed the title of the next Doctor Strange movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So it's interesting. Like Loki is going to be he's chasing down himself. So, it leaves open lots of opportunities for different Loki variants. Like there's Lady Loki, Old Man Loki, Teenage Loki. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see too. Like, and I think even Miss Minutes had a line that was something about madness, like the multiverse was madness, and I was like, hey, I saw what they did there. But yeah, I overall the scene where he had to watch his life play out, his Ragnarok life play out, and watch his own death, that was like really painful. I thought he sold that really well, and to have this realization of like, I thought I had this glorious purpose, and the whole time my purpose was just to die so other people could go on to glorious things. Yeah. Like that sucks. And
that's so traumatizing.
Yeah. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what that does to Loki now in this timeline and moving forward and how that affects him psychologically.
What I like about it is, because I know we were having that question as to like what Loki is this going to be? Is this going to be like pre-Tesseract Loki or like, so we were wondering what kind of Loki this is going to be. And I feel like we're going to be blessed with both Lokis. At least.
Yeah, right. Because it's before this Loki that we're seeing hasn't actually lived through all those growing opportunities that we've seen him, where he actually becomes close to Thor, fights side by side, is killed by Thanos. But I think that was kind of why they gave him that quick little synopsis of his life, just to try to catch him up a little bit to that point, so that he knows he has that in him. Like, okay, maybe I'm not the villain. Maybe I'm not this crappy person that I always thought, because look at me and Thor on the screen. So
I have to say I was disappointed / kind of heartbroken to see that they referenced Phil Coulson again. And yet in this, it seems anyway that now
he's
Agents
dead.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is confirmed to not even be part of the MCU at all.
I caught that too. I was like, okay, so I guess Coulson is dead.
Right. Which on the one hand, that potentially opens it up to giving him a new story in the MCU, like you said, with the multiverse and bringing in different versions of him. But at the same time, I'm like, I hope you have something more planned for Phil Coulson than just he's dead and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. never happened, because that was a bummer.
Right, I agree. And he was such a good character, and I really like him as an actor. So I hope he comes back at some point. I mean, I know he was back in flashbacks every now and then, but my final thought on Loki is, like somebody mentioned before, is the TVA really good? Or are they're going to be the villains of this series, really? I mean, at a certain point, are they taking away free will?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people like standing Owen Wilson really hard, by the way, for the first time. And I just want to say, like, everyone is late to the party on that, because he has been awesome for a long time.
Late. Yes, I love Owen Wilson. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but yes, Loki is going to be gender fluid in this series. They released a teaser pic that had like his prisoner file, I guess, and it said gender and then fluid, which is something that's happened in the comics before, and it's something that Tom Hiddleston is really excited about and really kind of lines up with Norse mythology in some aspects. So interesting how they're going to realize that throughout the series too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Is there any other news that you've been following this week?
Well, I guess if we're staying with some comic book nerdy kind of news, I have something a little tantalizing. So for the Harley Quinn cartoon series, which is incredible. I haven't gotten a chance to finish it, but what I've seen, I've really enjoyed. It's obviously adult oriented, but there is apparently a scene where Batman was going to be performing cunnilingus on Catwoman. And DC nixed the scene and said that they couldn't allow it in the series because, quote, heroes don't do that. I'm sorry. Are heroes very selfish lovers then? Are you trying to say that like Batman just takes it and doesn't give it? Or they just like, he only does it in like missionary? I need to know.
I feel like performing that would be a hero's trait, you know?
Right?
Exactly. It's a very unselfish thing to do. You know, you're there to make sure the person is safe and has, you know, a great time, you know, and to be able to live another day to talk about it.
I have so many thoughts about this.
I think if you don't perform oral sex, that you're the villain, honestly. Like DJ Khaled, man, over it.
What is this? I've heard about this. Like,
wait, what?
DJ
refuses?
Khaled had some interview a couple of years ago that basically said that he doesn't eat pussy because he said that, like, I don't do that. Only the girls do it for me. And it's all these people are coming on him on Twitter, just like, hey, man, if you don't eat, then you stuck in bed.
Okay. Like, 2 thoughts about this. 2 thoughts. 1, if there is an episode that I don't want my students to find, it's this one. 2, someone who, the exact opposite, who confirmed on Twitter that they are, in fact, a hero, Christopher Maloney. So, just saying.
He does, doesn't he? Sometimes you can just tell by looking at a person. Just like, yeah, they do. No, they definitely don't.
It's confident. But here's what I don't understand. This is the Harley Quinn series that is already, like, very adult, very vulgar, like, you know, like NC-17 as a series, right? Like, basically, so to come in and be like, oh, we can't do that, it has nothing to do with the content of the show. You're already producing adult content. So it has everything to do with your just, like, enforced, I don't know, misogyny or like, what do you want? Chastity belt?
Like, I completely agree. I think that female sexuality is so heavily like guarded. I think we'd be having a different conversation if it was implied that Batman or Superman was getting a blowjob. Right.
For sure.
Like, but the fact that it's him doing it to a woman, it's like, ooh, clutch the pearls. But,
yeah.
I am team Catwoman deserves her pleasure, and consensual sex between superheroes should happen.
Yeah, I mean, if Catwoman needs any help, I'm an honest man, so I can. But I got friends.
That was a good recover, Alex. That was a good recover.
Oh man.
Oh, all right. What's up? What else is up in the news?
Oh my gosh.
Is anything not wet and sticky going on?
I'm like, my news is like so tame in comparison. So now we've entered the PG portion of the show. My news is really tame. I will say, really excited to see Shadow and Bone got picked up for season 2. I know I talked about that on the show previously and got really into it. So I'm excited that that's going to be coming back on Netflix. The Killers, which you know is my favorite band, announced a collaboration with Bruce Springsteen, which the song it comes out on the 16th, so it'll be out when this episode comes out, which is super exciting. And they announced today, the drummer announced that they have another album that will be released in August, and it is a concept album that is very different from the previous Killers albums, and it's giving me kind of like Taylor Swift folklore vibes. Like they wrote it all in quarantine, and it's going to sound different than anything that they've ever done before. And it's like a portrait in time, kind of. So I'm excited.
I'm excited to hear some new Killers. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they come up with. And And then if anyone didn't see, you can just you only need to find like a 20-second clip of it because you certainly don't need to watch the whole thing. But there was the fight between Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter.
Oh, God.
And it's generous calling that a fight because it was basically Aaron Carter spinning around in circles and trying to like run away from Lamar Odom. And then giant Lamar Odom with like his octopus tentacle arms just reaching out and batting at Aaron Carter, and Aaron got knocked out in the second round. He barely made it into the second round and got knocked out. And
it was not Aaron's party, is what you're trying to say.
So the thing is,
it
like
was not.
I feel like both of their like people, like their entourage, whoever manages them, are horrible people for letting one or Lamar Odom beat this little kid up. And then
like a 34-year-old man.
Yeah, well, he compared to Lamar
He was like a
Odom,
little kid. Yeah.
No, I feel that.
But like, and even just like Aaron Carter's team to just like let him be in the ring like this with this guy with like, it's like David and Goliath, but Goliath is gonna obliterate David here.
You know what? If anybody deserved it though, like it's Aaron Carter because that guy has had like he has just gone completely off the rails and like. He refuses to get help or acknowledge help from anybody. So it was kind of satisfying, to be honest, watching him get the crap kicked out of him. It was kind of nice.
I'm just so over everybody having to be a fighter all of a sudden now, though. It's just like everybody's got to get in the ring against everybody. There was TikTokers versus YouTubers last week. Like,
I'm here for that, though. There's some people that just need to get knocked out.
Yeah, any juicy stuff we got, Nicole?
Got a few things here. Kanye West officially unfollowed Kim and her family on Twitter after he was spotted in France with supermodel Irina Shayk. I believe that's how you say her name. If not, I apologize. And there's rumors going around that they're dating or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like people are looking way too into this. Like maybe they're just friends. They're just hanging out. Maybe they are like, getting a little more intimate. But what is that? Why is that? What does that matter to us? I feel.
I know.
And low-key, I'm kind of happy that Kanye is taking himself away from the Kardashian family because I feel like they are toxic.
And I'm happy that Kim got rid of Kanye because he's toxic. Come at me, Alex.
I think all of the above, dude. They're all toxic people. They're wrapped up in each other's stuff. I know, for real.
But speaking of that, I did find it nice. It was Kanye's birthday the other week, earlier this month, I believe in June. And she posted a picture for him on Twitter. It was like her, the kids, and him, I believe. And she kind of just said that, like, I'll always love you. Happy birthday. And I thought that was kind of sweet of her.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then he's like, okay, peace out. I'm going to unfollow you.
I unfollow people all the time for petty reasons. I'm always just like, I'll follow people for like 2 days. And then if they, I don't know, I decide, I'm like, I never really liked you anyway. Unfollow. That'll show them.
I'll click on like a friend's profile and then I'll see who they're following. And if I see that they're not following me, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. If you're not following me, unless you're like Chris Evans or someone very famous, I'll give you all of my followers.
And then, speaking of marriage, there's rumors going around that our girl Elizabeth Olsen secretly got married. She was doing an interview with Kaylee Cuoco, and she kind of slipped out a little bit, and she said, I also just noticed that my husband put Little Miss Magic, the Little Miss books. So she kind of said husband when they weren't, was not confirmed that they were married yet. Everyone thought they were still engaged, so she kind of let it slip. And everyone's saying, well, why would you reference him as your husband if you weren't married? So that's why there's rumors going around that she got secretly married. She was spending pretty much all of quarantine with Robbie Arnett in the UK for 7 months. They were chilling there, and then they came back to LA. And so.
Good for her. Either way, I love her, so.
Yes, me too. And then more marriage news. Frankie Grande, who is Ariana Grande's brother, is engaged. That's it for that one, because I don't really know much more on that. I just know
congratulations, Frankie Grande.
Yeah. And then ending on kind of a more sad note, Naya Rivera's dad has finally spoken out about her death. He was saying how he was on FaceTime literally minutes before She passed away,
so
and he was on FaceTime with her, and her phone froze, and the call kind of ended, and he was just staring at like her face on the FaceTime call.
Oh my God.
And he's like, I just got a gut feeling that something wasn't right. And then a few hours later, he obviously found out that she was missing on the boat while her son was sleeping by himself on the boat, and they later found her body.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Somebody cheer us up.
Yes.
I can talk about Bo Burnham's special, but that's not going to cheer anybody up. Hi, I'm Haley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom, and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30 Nerdy and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms.
Let's get started with our pop it or drop it recommendations for you all. Now, I know we already talked about Loki, so I'm going to go ahead and just give that a pop it.
Pop it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. I think we all come to the same conclusion that definitely watch Loki, especially if you're a fan. But there's some other things I watched this week, both on Netflix. One is Lupin. It is a kind of like a crime thriller drama. It's a French series. I don't know if French. I watched it with the subtitles, but even still, like, it was so good. So good. So good. I love it. And it's based off of this character named Arsène Lupin, who is a character created by Maurice Leblanc. And in the show, the main character, his name is Hassan Diop, and he is kind of like inspired by this Arsène Lupin. And Arsène Lupin is like this gentleman thief and like master of disguise. And so, the show Lupin is very heavy on just really cool, like elaborate heists. And it's just, I love the show. And so Netflix just recently released their part 2. It comes in 2 parts. There's 5 episodes in each part. So when the first part was over, I was livid because I needed more.
Like 5 episodes.
Now I feel better. But then again, after I was like, this isn't over. This is weird. The ending just didn't feel complete. And then afterwards, it was like Lupin part 3 coming soon. And then I just did a little shimmy because I was excited for it. But definitely pop it for Lupin. And another show that came out on Netflix is Sweet Tooth. And at first I wasn't sure about Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, I'm iffy on that just from like, I don't know, anthropomorphized animals, furry things.
It just looked weird. It looked weird. When I watched it on the trailer, it just seemed off. Because it's a fantasy drama, and it has like furry animals everywhere, and this like kid with antlers that like has this like Tom Sawyer experience. And it's just like, it just felt off. But Bree's mom, she was like, watch this. You have to watch this. And she spent the entire week trying to like just force us to watch it. So we finally did. And I'm glad she did. And I'm glad that we like watched it because, well, we haven't finished it yet. We're in the last episode. But it is, I don't think the trailer does it justice. And, it does have kind of like the Mark Twain, like Huckleberry Finn sort of feel to it. There's this kid going on this adventure across the country with this like guy, and then they meet other characters along the way. Yeah, but it's very heartfelt. I think it's beautifully shot, and the fact that there's like all these like furry creatures or like kids running around, like at first I was like weirded out by it, but it feels very true to the story. Like, and also like, it feels like it could be something that could happen. Like, because it's based off of like this virus, and there's people that, were like dying throughout this decade, and it pretty much changed the whole world. And these kids who are called hybrids, because they're like part animal, part human, they're the ones that are pretty much the cure. So they're being hunted. I recommend it. So I'll definitely give it a pop it. So yeah. Sweet Tooth
Interesting.
and Lupin, both on Netflix. Definitely give it a pop.
Nice.
Awesome.
Sean, I see that you watched Dracula recently.
Yes. So I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula for the first time this week. It was actually my husband's idea. It was one of those things that he said that he used to walk through the Blockbuster as a kid and see the box art, and it scared him. And so he's like, I've never watched it. Let's watch it. Winona Ryder is in it. Keanu Reeves is in it, which I had no idea. And Dracula is played by Gary Oldman. You know what? This movie was really entertaining. There was a werewolf for no reason. If anybody's listening and they can tell me why there was werewolf sex in this movie, please explain it to me. Because me and my husband keep talking about like, that was an okay movie. It was pretty entertaining, but why was there werewolf sex?
Why not? If you have
Touche.
the opportunity, seize upon it.
Touche. All werewolf sex is always necessary. So I'll give that movie from 1992 a pop it. Give that a whirl if you like vampire lore. I did start this new show. It's on Fox. It's called Crime Scene Kitchen, and it's hosted by Joel McHale. And so I love cooking shows. I just think they're so feel good and just kind of low stakes. I mean, maybe not low stakes for the people competing. There's always some cash prize. But this show is so goofy. And like, I love Joel McHale. He's so funny. And basically, like, a bunch of cooks go into a kitchen with like little bits and pieces of a recipe. Like, it looks like something was baked there, and then they have to recreate it based on like the clues in the crime scene kitchen that they find. So I would definitely pop that. It was a nice, it's a nice little carefree viewing for us who, I mean, if you like Great British Bake Off and all those cooking shows and all that jazz. I'm also going to give it a pop it to the Cats movie that I mentioned earlier.
Really?
You're the only person. You're the only person to pop it.
I will pop the Cats movie because I feel like, okay, my friend Megan knew the Cats songs because she likes the musical. So she knew all the words. If she wasn't there, I don't think any of the rest of us would have known what the hell was going on.
And you said you were drinking while watching
Yes.
the show.
So what I'm going to say is a pop it, but I feel like you have to go into it either watching it with a big group of people, drinking, or just making fun of it as you go. You know, don't go into this film like, oh man, this is Dame Judi Dench's best role, or like Sir Ian McKellen's really going to knock this out of the, like, they aren't, okay? It's going to be stupid, and they're all going to like be covered in fur. And it's very Uncanny Valley. Like, they have noses, but also in thumbs, but cat ears. Anyway, watch it with friends. Have some drinks if that's your thing. Smoke some herb if that's your thing. Watch some Cats. Pop it.
Nice. Oh, man. I seized the opportunity. My husband was out of town over the weekend, and so I got to take control of the TV and watch stuff that I knew he wouldn't like. So I binged on this entire mini-series called Mayor of Easttown, it's on HBO. It is a crime drama. It stars Kate Winslet as the lead character, Mare, who it's set in Pennsylvania, and she is this detective whose life is falling apart all around her. It's very complex, and I won't dive into like all the nuances of what's going on, but basically this kind of small town, a teenage girl is found murdered, and she has to solve the case, and it's like all eyes on her. And in the meantime, just everything that could possibly go wrong in her life is also going wrong. So it's really, really good. Evan Peters is in it, our boy from WandaVision and the X-Men movies, Quicksilver.
Yeah. American Horror Story.
Yeah, and it's what I liked about it. I mean, I love Kate Winslet. She's another person that I will watch literally anything that she's in. And I love that she doesn't play a glamorous character by any means. She's run down. She's in like sweats half the time. And yet she has Guy Pearce and Evan Peters both falling in love with her. And I was like, I love this. So it was really, really good. Very compelling. Big twist at the end. So I don't want to say any more about it because
what network is it on, or what streaming platform?
HBO Max.
Maybe I'll give that a try. I really liked the first season of True Detective, and I kind of get vibes, like kind of True Detective-ish vibes from that.
Yeah, and there's only 7 episodes, so it's a pretty quick binge.
Yeah, definitely
to see
watchable.
the whole arc. So yeah, pop that for sure. Loved it. Was compelled and like start to finish. I also watched Bo Burnham's special on Netflix, Inside, which I had seen some of Bo Burnham's stuff like years ago, his Vines and stuff like that, but I've never really been into him as a comedian.
Yeah.
Vines.
Yeah, Vines.
Sorry. I forgot that happened.
But yeah, so this blew up all over the new Vine, TikTok, and everyone has been talking about it. And so I was like, okay, I got to see what this is. And I tuned in thinking it was a comedy special, and it is not a comedy special. So I will tell you that the first half, is definite comedy. And it's stuff that you would expect from Bo Burnham. But he also, and he's been doing this for a while, he sprinkles in like social commentary in with his comedy. And it's social commentary kind of masked as comedy.
Yeah.
But the back half of the special is dark. It is dark, and there is not very much humor in it at all. It's very much performance art that takes over. And it's all about his mental state with depression and anxiety and like trigger warnings. He talks a lot about suicide, and throughout the special, it's essentially kind of like you're watching this guy's. It's like you're in his brain and you're watching his descent like into madness over quarantine and the pandemic. And so I really liked it, but it's really heavy, and it's something that like I had to do like a palate cleanse and go watch some Simpsons or something after, because it was just really dark. And there's a lot of really fascinating like commentary online that you can read about it and people interpreting his different songs and all this. So I haven't stopped thinking about it, and the songs haven't left my head since I watched it, and I will probably go back and watch it again. But so pop it, but with a warning that you're not going to get a comedy special like you would think.
Interesting.
So.
That sounds really like vulnerable of him to create something like that. And I'm really interested in watching that now. That's interesting. What platform is that on? Sorry, I know I keep asking you that.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's on Netflix.
Okay.
And I think anybody who has ever struggled with depression or anxiety, like you're going to identify with the things that he's saying, because it's spot on. He hits the nail right on the head of what it felt like to go through the pandemic. And so it was really, really good. And then other than that, I think I maybe mentioned this before, but I have been continuing my binge watch of *Halt and Catch Fire*, which is also on Netflix. And I won't dive into that too much other than to say that last night my husband and I were talking about the show together, and we were like, is this the best show we've ever watched? Like that was genuinely part of the conversation, was if it could overtake The Americans, because that's our favorite show. We're like, could this overtake it? Which I don't think it can, but it's in the top 5.
The fact that the conversation took place intrigues me.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely top 5 best shows I've ever watched. So if you are unfamiliar with *Halt and Catch Fire*, don't know anything about it, also a pretty quick binge, 4 seasons, 10 episodes each, and it gets better and better and better with each episode. And then it ends, and then you're devastated. But it's really, really good. So definitely check it out.
Oh, man. Well, actually, Nicole is going to be super proud of me. I finally watched The Bachelorette. And I'll tell you, thank you. It is so good. I mean, it's just reality TV. It's all the drama that you expect, but I was just like laughing the entire time. I was watching it like in the background while I was like at my desk like working, so I would mostly hear it, and then I like stopped to like look around and like, did they really just? Oh my god, how did this? It's just I always see why you watch it.
Yeah, it's literally one of those. It's like, don't knock it until you try it, because it's like, to me, I like it. I enjoy watching it, especially this season. I think Katie is a very good bachelorette. She knows what she wants. She knows why she's there. She's there for the right reason. She wants an engagement. She kicked someone off the show this week because she found out he was not there for the right reason. So right away she was like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I heard you weren't here for the right reasons. And he kind of just had a straight face.
Who was it?
Cody.
Okay.
That's the one that brought the doll.
Oh, the blow up doll guy. Oh, I was team blow up doll guy. Actually, I'm I'm team math teacher in the cat costume. Okay, so I tried watching Bachelorette too. I don't know. I need to make it past that first episode because in the beginning I was like, all right, this is cool, hot guys, and then halfway through I was like, okay, more hot guys.
The first episode can be kind of boring because it's literally just the introduction of the guys.
It was like, there's only so many hot guys I can comment on in one. True. And then I paused it to like go to the bathroom. I came back and there's still 40 minutes left. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. No, sorry.
I actually skipped the first episode and I just like went to the show and it was they had like this challenge where they had to like show who was like the best lover. And like there's this one guy.
Is there an orgy?
Well, they're pretty much trying to convince her through like talents, whether like comedy or like music or like, whatever they had to impress her and show that they're like the best lover.
If there's an orgy, I'm in.
But I don't know. It was cute, and like there's this like one guy who is a virgin, who's like 31 years old, and I thought it was pretty cool the way like he expressed.
He did a very good job.
Yeah, I was like, man, I really gave it up to him. Because I know people like that. That wait until they're married to give themselves to somebody, which I definitely respect. And I admire as well. Definitely takes a lot of discipline. So good for him.
Yes.
Someone's got to do it. It ain't me.
But no, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, and then the drama just happened. Like they like purposely, the producers, they knew they were like there's like these because the Cody and like this other character, this other guy.
Character. They're characters.
And that's the thing though too, because like she's upset that people are there for the wrong reasons, but like I feel like the first reason why people sign up for shows like this is because they want to get a shot at being on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just want to be famous. That's what it's all about. When they're like, I'm really looking for love. I'm like, if you were, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly. I was cracking up, though. I mean, I enjoyed it. Maybe I'll give it another, I don't know. I'll give it another whirl.
Just go to the second episode. Yeah.
Because I got very bored with episode 1. But then it always cracked. It was so dramatic. Like, oh, can you believe that one of the hands you just shook is going to be your husband someday? And I was like, come on, girl. No, it's not.
And there's so much kissing in there. Like, I wonder if anybody's ever gotten like strep throat from this. Like,
or mono. Yeah.
They're always like
a diarrhea outbreak.
Coming full circle, bringing it back around.
They only have a couple toilets.
And it gets really aggressive. Sometimes I like worry for her.
She's got it. She literally ran the show herself. She wrapped up her season a week or 2 early because she was just there to get things done. And whether or not, I'm trying to really avoid spoilers this season because usually I am like, I don't really care. But I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not sure if she actually is engaged or not or is still dating someone. But we'll find out. I feel like she is. I really like Gary, who is the guy who got her first impression rose on the first one-on-one date. I really like him.
He's cool.
Yeah.
That was a cute date.
That was a very cute date. I really like that.
Yeah, they seem very genuine together. And I think she's actually there for, because she wants to find out. At least that's what I take. Or she's just a really
No, I
actress.
think so. She's very outgoing and outspoken and doesn't really care what people think.
Team Con.
It has to take like a special kind of person to feel comfortable dating like in front of a camera. You know what I mean? Because I remember dating and I felt so awkward and uncomfortable the entire time, and there was no one paying attention except my date.
Like, I hope the date was paying attention.
That, well, even then, probably not most of the time.
When you're getting paid whatever amount she's getting paid, I would be comfortable.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did watch America's Got Talent too. We all know me and my competition shows. There's this one girl on there. I don't know if she used her real name on the show. I think she did, but I completely forgot it because I follow her on Instagram. And her Instagram name is The Nightbird. And she's incredible. She was a singer. She's battling cancer. And she got the Golden Buzzer from Simon Cowell. And if you have not watched this audition yet, I would recommend going and watching it because it was so, so good. So I definitely popped that show.
Yeah, she got a gold buzzer.
Yeah, she
Good for
was
her.
very, very good.
That's cool. I'm going to have to give that a little YouTube view.
Yes.
Pull it up on the old interwebs.
Okay, well, that was another hit of our Pop Culture Junkie podcast. Where can all those junkies out in the Junkieverse find you guys?
You can find me, Haley, on the 30 Nerdy and Thriving podcast and on Instagram at 30 Nerdy Thriving and over on Twitter at 30 Nerdy Pod.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge and on Twitter at NAEldridge14.
You can find me, Shauna Trinidad, on Instagram and Twitter at Shauna Trinidad, Shaunatrinidad.
And you can find me, Alex, at ALCASNUN on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to visit popculturejunkie.com, where you can find the rest of our links there, as well as check out some news and other movie reviews that we post on there. And if you want to find some merch, feel free to take a gander and get yourself a mug, a t-shirt, all the different things. You can also sign up to our newsletter at popculturejunkie.com to stay up to date with all things pop culture junkie.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at pop.culturejunkies. We want all the followers in all the land. Go find us on Instagram.
All right, well, that was another dose of Pop Culture Junkie podcast. We'll see you again next week.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.